Good evening to you on this Wednesday. I'm Aton Wallace, and welcome to Impeachment Wrap, Where Does America Stand? Our new web-only live show that wraps up everything you need to know about today's impeachment hearing. Now, before we go into the details of today's hearing, we wanted to look into the entire impeachment process and where we go from here. Now, certainly this process is not one which simply takes place overnight. There are many steps to impeachment, and here they are in a graphic. Now, first, the proceedings go to the House Intelligence Committee, where witnesses testify about the accusations leveled against the president. Now, this already happened last month. Each party then writes up a report about their findings based on witness testimony. That happened on Monday and Tuesday, with Republicans and Democrats releasing their own reports. By the way, those reports can be found on our special impeachment web page on kget.com. The reports are then sent to the House Judiciary Committee, where members of that committee will review the report, call up witnesses, and ultimately decide whether or not to write up articles of impeachment. Now, if the committee does in fact write up articles of impeachment, which remember, articles of impeachment are considered legislation, the articles then go to the House of Representatives for a vote whether or not to impeach the president. There, all members of the House will vote yes or no on impeachment, and in order for the president to be impeached, at least 218 House members would need to vote in favor of impeachment, and that's just over 50%. Now, if the president is impeached, he is not automatically removed from office. The process then goes to the Senate, where a jury trial takes place. Chief Justice John Roberts would act as the judge, senators would be the jury, and the president would be on trial. Now, at least 67 senators would need to vote in favor of removing the president from office, and given that the Senate is comprised of 53 Republicans and 45 Democrats, that could be a difficult task to remove the president from office. Now, we'll have a look at today's hearing in just a few minutes, but first we wanted to do something that we have not yet done, and that is to hit the streets of Bakersfield to find out, what does the average voter think about all this? Well, first stop, Bakersfield Central Park at Mill Creek. There we found Margaret Martinez. She says the president put his campaign before his country.
Yes, I am for impeachment. The campaign and the politics is just a step. Though America is the whole thing. And if you're just trying to jump on those steps first, not caring who made it, who didn't, I don't think that's not a good president either. Like, to me, Kennedy was a great president. Obama, there's Ronald Reagan, Bill. They did for people. It's supposed to be we the people of the United States, not we people for Trump's family.
Now, not everybody shares that viewpoint. We found Richard Schwartz walking in downtown Bakersfield. He offered another perspective.
I do not think that Trump deserves to be impeached. In the impeachment hearings, all the people who were asked, do you have any direct knowledge of him doing anything wrong? They said no. And all of their information is on hearsay.
And then we went to the campus of Bakersfield College to speak with students like Paige Henderson. The freshman acknowledges it's been tough to follow along with the hours-long proceedings, and she feels mixed about whether or not to support impeachment.
Do you believe he should be impeached, yes or no, and why?
Kind of. Like, I don't agree with a lot of his actions. And if that's what's best for our country, then that's what deserves to happen.
Now, we're also hearing from our local congressional leaders. Democratic Congressman T.J. Cox of the 21st Congressional District released this statement. It reads, quote, "I did not come to Washington to impeach a president. I came here to do everything in my power to give Central Valley's working families a hand up and grow our local economy for generations to come. I've worked every day to keep that promise. But when the President of the United States is putting his personal and political interests ahead of the American people and abusing the Constitution, we have a duty to investigate and follow the facts where they lead. The inquiry and these hearings are allowing us to break through the president's stonewalling and obstruction and get the answers the American people deserve." But House Minority Leader and Bakersfield Congressman Kevin McCarthy calls the impeachment process unfair. In a statement he wrote, quote, "After countless hours of wasted time, Chairman Schiff has only succeeded in exposing the sham for what it is, a political hit job. Democrats have relied on smears, hearsay, and presumption to build their false narrative. Their claims have been discredited, and the American people can see right through their guilty until proven innocent justice system." So, moving along now. Meantime, 4 legal scholars were on Capitol Hill today weighing in on the matter. The House Judiciary Committee took the reins of the proceedings today, the day after the House Intelligence Committee made their report on the matter public. Karen Kafel reports from Washington.
House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler kicking off his panel's role in the impeachment inquiry against President Trump.
Never before has a president engaged in a course of conduct that included all of the acts that most concerned the framers.
The witnesses, 4 legal scholars, 3 called by Democrats, agreeing the president abused the power of his office.
We 3 are unanimous.
And warning of dire consequences if Congress does not act.
This is precisely the misconduct that the framers created a constitution, including impeachment, to protect against.
The witnesses invited by Democrats also cut at key Republican talking points, like their argument that withholding aid from Ukraine doesn't amount to an impeachable offense because it was ultimately released.
The possibility that the president might get caught in the process of attempting to abuse his office and then not be able to pull it off does not undercut in any way the impeachability of the act.
Based on the evidentiary record before you, what has happened in the case today is something that I do not think we have ever seen before.
But a witness called by Republicans, Professor Jonathan Turley of George Washington University, saw it differently.
Impeachments have to be based on proof, not presumptions. That's the problem when you move towards impeachment on this abbreviated schedule.
Echoing a sentiment of Republicans on the committee.
The clock and the calendar are seemingly dominating this.
In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Now, within the last hour, Congressman McCarthy tweeted this: "Today was an absolute disaster for Democrats." Now, President Trump has been vocal to respond to last month's hearings, but did not hold any sort of news press conference today. He was active on Twitter, but only retweeted others' comments on the matters. Now, meantime, First Lady Melania Trump took to Twitter after one of today's first witnesses testified. In a tweet, Mrs. Trump slammed a comment made by constitutional expert Pamela Karlan, who mentioned Trump's 13-year-old son, Barron, to make a point that President Trump is not a king who is above the law. Now, Karlan said the president can name his son Barron, but he cannot make him a baron. The First Lady responded to that comment in a tweet saying, quote, "A child deserves privacy and should be kept out of politics." The Post also said Karlan should be ashamed of herself, angry and obviously biased public pandering, and using a child to do it. Now, during the hearing, Karlan later apologized for the comment.
If I can just say one thing, I want to apologize for what I said earlier about the president's son. It was wrong of me to do that. I wish the president would apologize, obviously, for the things that he's done that's wrong, but I do regret having said that.
The tweet was Mrs. Trump's first comment of any kind about the ongoing impeachment proceedings. Now, as for what comes next, the committee has 24 hours to decide if it will hold another hearing next week. Now, that hearing is expected to include testimony from Democratic and GOP staff attorneys on the House Intelligence Committee who would present the findings of their investigations. The Judiciary Committee is expected to draft and consider articles of impeachment in the next several days. The White House has a Friday deadline to decide whether to participate in future hearings. Now, as always, we will be following along each step of the way here on Impeachment Wrap. Where does America stand? Thank you so much for joining us on this Wednesday evening. From all of us here at Circle 17, I'm Eitan Wallace, and have a great night.